Let me tell you something you probably already suspect, but no one has clearly told you. You already know more about money than you think. The problem isn't what you know. The problem is what you're not brave enough to say out loud. Have you ever been in that uncomfortable situation where you know you should ask for a raise but the words just won't come out? Or maybe you've avoided that money talk with your partner because you don't want to start a fight? I totally get it. I've been there too. After working with thousands of people who've turned their finances around, I discovered something that forever changed the way I see things. The people who achieve financial freedom are not the smartest, nor the most educated. They're the ones who know how to talk about money better than anyone else. And I'm talking about real conversations, human, strategic conversations, the kind that build bridges instead of walls. Look, money is a language, and if you don't speak it fluently, you'll keep being a tourist in your own financial life. But here's the good news. This language can be learned, and it's not as complicated as you've been led to believe. There are 7 specific conversations that, once you master them, can help you make giant leaps in your financial life. I'm talking about strategic communication that works because it's based on mutual value creation. Ready? Here we go. 1. I need to talk to you about my salary. This is the conversation we avoid the most, right? Because we're afraid of sounding greedy. Or we think, what if they say no? But how much money have you lost by not having this conversation? Most people get this wrong. They go to their boss and say things like, I need more money, or it's been a long time since I got a raise. That's not an argument. That's begging. And begging rarely works. So here's the structure that actually works. First, come prepared with real data. Document exactly what you've achieved in the last 12 months, with numbers. Simplified operations and saved the company 25% in costs is very different from, I've been working really hard. Second, the opening. Instead of saying, I need to talk to you, try, I'd like to schedule a meeting to discuss my professional development based on my recent contributions. Feel the difference? You're not asking. You're proposing a business conversation. Third, present your case for what it is. An investment that's already producing results. In the past 12 months, I generated X value for the company, and I project I can generate Y additional value in the next 12. And when they say, there's no budget, don't back down. Ask, what other alternatives could we explore? There are often bonuses, benefits, or flexibilities you hadn't even considered. All right, now that you've got a clear strategy for conversation number 1, let's move on to the next one. 2. Let's talk about our money love. This conversation could save you years of arguments and thousands of dollars in misaligned decisions. But most couples turn it into a battlefield. The secret is in the context. Don't start with, we need to talk. That sounds like trouble. Try this instead. I'd love for us to create a plan together for our goals. See? It's not a criticism. It's an invitation to build. Start by asking, what are your most important financial goals? Really listen. No judgment, no interruptions. Because when your partner feels understood, it opens the door to creating agreements that work for both of you. 3. This is the value of what I offer. If you run your own business or offer services, this conversation could literally double your income. But most people confuse negotiating with fighting, and they're not the same. Negotiating means creating a win-win situation. The biggest mistake is talking about price before value. If the first thing you mention is the cost, you've already lost. Start by establishing value. Based on what you've told me, I've created a solution that will generate X result for you. Once they understand the value, then you present the investment. And when they say, that's too expensive, don't defend your price. Reinforce the value. You could say something like, I totally understand, it's a significant investment. Let me explain why other clients have seen this as one of the best investments they've ever made. 4. I'd like to improve my credit terms. This conversation could save you thousands in interest payments, but most people assume the bank's terms are set in stone. They're not. Banks want to keep good clients. If you've been responsible with your payments, you actually have negotiating power. You just don't know how to use it. Come prepared. Know your credit history, your income, your job stability, and especially what other banks are offering. Instead of saying, "Can you give me a better rate?" Try this. "I've been a loyal client for X years, my credit history is excellent, and I've seen other banks offering better conditions to clients with my profile. How can we work together to optimize my financial products?" 5. I want my money to work for me. This conversation with financial advisors can exponentially accelerate your growth, but you need to come prepared. Be specific with your goals. Don't say, "I want to make more money." Say, "I want to save $100,000 in 5 years for a house down payment with moderate risk." Ask about all costs, not just the obvious fees. Hidden costs can eat up a significant portion of your returns, and request realistic projections, not best-case scenarios. An honest advisor will give you ranges based on historical data. 6. We need to talk about the outstanding payment. If you work independently, this conversation determines whether you have a healthy cash flow or you're constantly chasing payments. The key is prevention. From the very first contact, make your payment terms crystal clear. Then follow up proactively. When the due date comes and there's no payment, don't wait. The next day, take action with this phrase. "I wanted to confirm you received the invoice that was due yesterday. Is there any additional information you need?" If the issue continues, escalate diplomatically with this phrase. "I've noticed the invoice has been pending for X days. Can we coordinate payment for this week?" 7. I love you, but this is my financial limit. This is the most delicate conversation, but perhaps the most important for your long-term well-being. Because family members who don't respect your financial boundaries can destroy your goals. The secret is to be clear without being cruel. "My current financial situation allows me to do this, but not that. This doesn't change my love for you, but I do need to maintain my boundaries to protect my or our financial stability." Offer alternatives. If you can't lend money, maybe you can offer your time, your skills, or your emotional support. Yes, I know all of this can sound intimidating. That's normal. These conversations are scary because they matter, because they have real consequences in your life. But let me tell you something. Preparation kills fear. When you know exactly what you're going to say and how to say it, confidence comes naturally. Start by practicing. Record yourself talking alone. Yes, it feels awkward at first, but it's incredibly effective. Listen to yourself. Identify where you sound uncertain. Adjust. Try lower-risk conversations first. If you want to negotiate a 50% raise, start by practicing negotiating the price of something smaller. And after each important conversation, reflect on what worked and what you could improve. Skills are built through deliberate practice. Every conversation you avoid today is an opportunity you're denying your future self. Every negotiation you don't have, every boundary you don't set, every value you fail to communicate keeps a door closed. But when you start having these conversations, when you stop being a victim of financial circumstances and become the architect of your economic future, everything changes. It's about being clear, strategic, effective. Now tell me, which of these conversations have you been avoiding the most? Why do you think you've been avoiding it? And more importantly, what is the most important financial conversation you need to have in the next 30 days? The world won't recognize your value until you learn to communicate it. Your financial future is built conversation by conversation, decision by decision, word by word. The most important conversation of your financial life is the one you're going to have this week. Which one will it be?